We're in a hot, steamy Chicago, Illinois for our first game under the lights. Portland, Chicago, a huge game in the standings coming your way next. Welcome to Toyota Park, everybody. It's our first game here in our scheduled night game. NWSL on ESPN, presented by Lifetime. That is a mouthful, no doubt. But now in pregame show, I don't have to say that because it's only digital. And our producer, Michael Cohen, wanted the pregame show to be named the Dalen Cuff pregame show. And as much as most announcers would want that, I'm more of a team guy. You know, I'm like to pass the rock, and I've got great people around me. Kate Markgraf, former Olympic champion, former World Cup champion, will be joining us in just a second, along with Jenn Hildreth. And this is a really big game in the standings for both the Thorns and the Red Stars. But the Red Stars are playing at home, the first game of 3 games at home, but it's not going to be easy. They're going through some turmoil. Big roster shake-up here. A trade is in the offing. Let's go up to Jenn for the lineups and more on this big-time trade.
Come on, Dalen. You couldn't think of any good platitudes to put before my name. That's fine. It's okay. Welcome into the booth, everybody. Yes, we do have some breaking news, and good thing you're watching this show because you're going to get a little more intel on it. Now, we found out, and Chicago just issued a press release not too long ago, that there will be 3 players for the Red Stars not dressing tonight because they are unavailable due to a pending trade. And these are some long-time Chicago Red Stars people. Sofia Huerta just got back from those 2 friendlies against China with the U.S. national team. Sam Johnson, who has been a key in the back line for the Chicago team, and Taylor Camo. She and Johnson, both tryout players who Rory Dames developed into starters for the Chicago Red Stars club. 3-team trade, other big names involved. We'll get into more of that later. For now, let's give you a look at the lineups, because obviously Chicago's lineup impacted. No Huerta, no Johnson. Now, still no Casey Short, no Vanessa DiBernardo. They are available, but have yet to make their first appearance of the season. You'll see Julie Ertz, number 8, sliding back into that center back position. Now, remember, she has been so key for both the U.S. and Chicago, higher up the field in the midfield, but you take out Johnson, at least for now, Ertz goes back. And of course, you cannot forget about Sam Kerr. It is Aussie night here in Toyota Park. What a good day, everybody, for that one. As Kerr is up top, the NWSL's all-time leading scorer. But we'll have to get a little help from some of those others around her. No Huerta anymore for the Chicago Red Stars. Now, for the Portland Thorns, the defending NWSL champions, that international break didn't do them any favors either, because they lose outside back Midge Purse, who's played all but 1 minute this season, has been terrific getting up in the attack, and Tobin Heath, who everybody wants to see healthy, but both of those players listed as out for this matchup. Lindsey Horan, keep an eye on her. You know what an important player she is. She is on 4 yellow cards, 1 more for Horan, and she will serve a suspension. Christine Sinclair just scored her 173rd international goal. She is second all-time behind Abby Wambach, and what a fantastic season Sink is having in the NWSL this year as well. So a lot of great players to keep an eye on. As Dalen mentioned, these 2 teams are tied in terms of points in the standings, so it is an important matchup. For more on the matchup and all of the news of the day, let's get you back down to the field with Dalen and Kate.
Here with the aforementioned Kate, as Jenn just said. Jenn, I left off. Phenomenal goalkeeper at Emory. I should have hyped up Jenn's career too. She's got game. Let's talk about this situation we have going on here now, though. How does Chicago attack this? They have a team in turmoil. They had injuries going on. They're in 5th place. They thought they'd be in 1st. If you asked anybody in this team 6 months ago, how do they handle all this today?
Well, I've been through trades. I've been on teams where there's constant turnover, and that's the one thing. The core nucleus that is left together, you become so tight and so solid, both on and off that field, and that chemistry can pay dividends down the road once the team fully gets solidified and the new players come in.
Mark Parsons did say to me in the tunnel he thinks this team is going to be pretty together right now, and they're going to have to battle through that group. So we'll see. For the Thorns themselves, this is a team that they just got shellacked at home right before the international break. 4-1 loss at home to the league leaders right now, North Carolina Courage. No shame in that, but they don't lose at home very often. How are they mentally coming in this game, and how important is it for them to get points on the road here?
Well, I think the key thing is that international break. Many of the players left, especially their forward, Crnogosevic.
Yeah.
This is a chance for her. She scored against Belarus. Now she has that confidence. That's something that Coach Mark Parsons was talking about, is that she just needs to believe in herself, and the goals will come. So I actually think it's a benefit that Portland hasn't been together, and now they can come back a little bit enthused and fresh and ready to go today.
Both these teams ready to turn their seasons around, to climb up the standings. Let's take a look at where everybody is right now, and everybody's chasing the Courage. 12 games played, 30 points. They're currently unbeaten.
Keep running.
They are running. They're trying to chase down the Seattle team from 2014. They went 16 games undefeated and put up 42 points in that stretch back in 2014. You see Seattle in there at second right now, Orlando at third. Now Portland and Chicago are tied on points, but Portland has the tiebreaker. This is a massive game in the standings, no doubt. And now let's take a look at the other games in action. This is rare for us. Usually we're the first game showing, but now we're the nightcap. We're wrapping things up. So Seattle and Washington and Carolina and Utah are tied 0-0 through Sidney Leroux's goal. Orlando is up 1-0 on Sky Blue. All right, it is our digital pregame show. We thought we'd have some fun, and we don't get a chance to just sit here and rap to the fans very often. So let's do a little bit of that. We got some Twitter questions submitted throughout the course of the week. We're gonna go through some of those and see what we got. So let me work on my papers here real quick. There you go. There we go.
Give me the envelope.
All right.
Yes, Alex. What is it?
I will not go Warren Beatty on you, though. I have it in my hands, and I have them right.
Do I have to answer in a question?
You do have to answer a question.
Okay.
I wish I could beat your back, by the way. Phenomenal job for that guy.
It's amazing.
One day, maybe. I don't know. Let's keep it rolling here. And now we got a question coming in from Ed, please be kind, at Ed2003 WRX. That's a nice guy, it sounds like.
That is nice.
How probable is an undefeated season for the Courage we just talked about? I mean, we've seen this in some leagues around the world. I believe Lyon just went undefeated, and they've Arsenal back in 03-04, the Invincibles. Hasn't happened in this league, hasn't happened in any of the women's pro leagues here in the U.S. Could this team possibly run the table without getting beat?
You know, I think this is the team that if someone was going to do it, it would be this team because of the chemistry that they all have together, the type of players they have, and the coaching. Paul Riley has set up that team specifically for his players. And then you add Zerboni in the middle, the glue for everything. Everyone is playing so well for them. I think this is a team that could do it.
They seem on a different level right now. And a lot of teams that we thought were going to be there, Chicago we thought would be elevated, they've had their struggles. Portland, same way. Seattle has put some pieces together, and they've only played 10 games, so they seem the team that could maybe make a run, but we will see. In terms of MVP candidates, obviously last year's MVP is on the field. Sam Kerr will be seeing her. She'll be starting up top again. Who are the other candidates right now? Christine Sinclair leads the league in goals and assists. Are those two the front runners? Because Sam Kerr's tied with Megan Rapinoe for second in goals. How do you see that shaking out? Let me get the question in there. Of course, I don't want to leave you out. Meg Linehan, of course. Meg Linehan is fantastic.
Of course, Meg Linehan.
Any early standout candidates for MVP?
Of course, Meg Linehan is the one that
If there's one I'm going to skip, I probably could skip Meg. I'm sorry.
She's probably asked that many times, or even answered that question herself. I love you, Meg. I would have to say Sinclair, right? What she's doing with Portland. I think the MVP is someone, not only the ones who's putting the goals in the back of the net, but who's influencing the game on teams that may not win.
Yeah.
Like, look at Sam Kerr last year. I mean, she was on a team, that Sky Blue, that was really, really struggling, and she was so impactful, they gave it to her. So you have Christine Sinclair, but I'm going to have to go North Carolina Courage. Yeah. I mean, pick any of them in that spine. Abby Urseg, Hinkle's playing amazing, Zerboni, and then Jessica McDonald. Maybe not the high conversion rate, but she is a handful to deal with. So this race is far from done. So I'm excited to see the second half of the season, who emerges.
It's crazy. We're almost halfway through the season. I mean, some teams have played 12 games. So they are technically at the midway point right now, trying to either turn things around, or if North Carolina Courage just got to keep on rolling. To your point, the race for the Golden Ball and Golden Boot winner will be fun. On that note, though, we got another question coming in here from Kerr Powell. This is obviously about Sam Kerr here.
Maybe Australia.
At Heath and Kerr. And we're going to go up to Jen for this. We'd love if you talked about how the Aussies are representing Sam Kerr at #1 at the Men's World Cup. Pretty interesting stuff. Jen saw this on Twitter. Jen, what you got?
First of all, I love this. And Kerr Powell, I just want you to know I'm fully intending to use your Twitter handle if Sam Kerr scores a goal. But look at this, you guys. This is awesome. Sam Kerr tweeted back and agreed. 3 fans, I should say, wearing Sam Kerr jerseys in Russia for the Socceroos World Cup match, men's World Cup match earlier today. They didn't get the result they wanted. Don't know if you guys got up early for that one. Lost 2-1 to France. But I think that speaks a lot as to the staying power of one Sam Kerr, that she's transcended all soccer fans and really all sports fans. You got to get to know this young lady's name and just watch her for one game. She'll give you plenty of reasons why. Dalen, Kerpow. I'm loving it. We got to get that in.
Kerpow. Well, we just did get it in. Now we got to get it in. We got to get it in later too. And unfortunately, Australia did fall to France 2-1. I got up for 60 minutes of that game. Did you tune into that one?
Sure.
It was 4 a.m. here, I believe, the kickoff Central Time. Let's keep it rolling here. Now, last question coming in. This is from Denise Duffy, at Denise Duffy. I'd like to know how these humps on the players' backs are used. What exactly do these devices track, and how is that information used by coaches and players? Well, these are the stat monitoring things. It's from Stat Sports. It's the name of the company that supplies all U.S. soccer. They did deal with them a few months back, and a bunch of teams all over the world, and basically can monitor a bunch of stuff. I know you know this, so let's tell the folks out there. Acceleration, deceleration, your heart rate, your mobility, your balance. It's got a bunch of different factors going into it. And then different coaches, though, have different things they value, different metrics they're really watching. How much distance is somebody covering? How fast are their sprint speeds? In terms of, I know you talked to Jill Ellis, what does the U.S. women's team coach focus on when she's looking at these kind of breakdowns?
Yeah, when I was speaking to her, I'm like, what are you guys using it for? Because you know that work rate's going to be always up top, but you're worried about accumulated fatigue as the season goes on. So what you're really evaluating and what they're looking for, and Dalen, you probably don't get it very often, but it's like how often you're in that red zone, the 94, the 92% and up of your heart rate. Because the longer, and if you're in that for more than 16 minutes at a time for consecutive days, your muscle and your body will start to break down. World Cup qualifying is just around the corner this fall. You want to keep your players on contract healthy, so they are definitely watching to see more of the load that these players are carrying.
How tough is it for the players, just in terms of when you know you're approaching that red zone, you've had that conversation, if the coach is like, we got to give you a break? How does that go from the player's perspective if you know the numbers say it, but maybe you don't feel that way?
Yeah, I think very rarely do you not feel like you're not struggling, right? I think it's usually the other way around, where you think you're working so hard and then you look at your heart rate and you're like, oh goodness, I didn't run as hard as I thought I did. So if anything, I think it's more the other way around, and only when you're truly in the flow, and that happens so rarely, as you recall as an athlete, that feels like that. I think it's more just totally the other way around. It's all about prevention.
Good stuff. We enjoyed it. Kate's breaking it down as always. Thanks to all the folks out there giving in your questions. We'll do this for all of our night games coming up. We have got 5 more on ESPN, and next Saturday is one of them. We will be in Orlando. Rose Lavelle back in the mix, heading to Orlando next Saturday, 7 Eastern, ESPN News against Alex Morgan, Marta, the entire Pride crew. A big game coming your way in O-Town.
She is.
We'll be back here in just a minute with more of the pregame show. I'm going to get a towel because it is really hot. First one. Who's the first one? And we're back here at Toyota Park, getting set for the Thorns and the Red Stars. And we've got look at that. That's the Keymaster, I believe, from Rick Moranis from Ghostbusters 1. Oh, no. I'm wrong. That is Bill Herbstman, our AD. He's the man. Herbie's in the house today. And I will find my camera, and here I am. And yes, we're back at Toyota Park. Huge game coming up your way. Chicago and Portland. Both these teams, as we've mentioned already, not where they thought they'd be in the standings, but they are where they are right now, and they both need 3 points. They're tied on 15 points right now, coming off international break, need to find a way to turn their seasons around. The goalkeeper for the Red Stars will be critical in this game, as she always is, whether it's with the club or country at the U.S. women's national team. Here's Alyssa Nair with Kate.
Hi, Alyssa. Thank you so much for joining us today. So this season, totally new style of play, a bunch of new players, but I'm wondering why the shift in style after you guys have been so successful the previous 3 seasons, and what has that transition been like?
I think the answer to that is just, we have been successful, but we still haven't gotten where we fully want to go, which is to win a championship, and we feel like this is this is kind of the next step that we need to take in the evolution of our team that can hopefully get us over that semifinal hump. And it's had its ups and downs for sure, but it's been fun. It's a lot of playing, a lot of actual soccer. So it's been a change, it's been a transition for sure, but it's been enjoyable.
With all that in mind, as a veteran of this team, how has your role and your responsibilities in game changed?
Definitely a little bit more involved with my feet, which I've had to put a bit of time into getting comfortable with. So, but it's an added challenge, and it's something that I've enjoyed. I think the evolution of the game in general, you see it on the men's side, now you see it on the women's side as well. I think that's where the game is going. Goalkeepers are getting more involved with being an 11th player on the field, not just in the goal. So it's fun to be part of that evolution.
No, you've been very, very privileged because you've been able to play with some of the best forwards in the league. Press last year. This year, you're getting to play with the 2017 MVP Sam Kerr. What makes her so dangerous?
She's just one of those players that, she's super, super athletic, and she's committed to getting in behind. She, is always running, always putting herself in the right position, tracking down balls, coming back to get things, and she's just a pure natural goal scorer. She's always putting herself in that position to find the back of the net.
Great. Thank you so much.
No problem.
Sam Kerr hoping to terrorize defenses again as she has the last few weeks. All five of her goals scored in the last 5 matches. She's been on a roll. One of her teammates in the midfield, Alyssa Mautz, has been critical to this team all year long. She's played in every game so far this season. Kate is now with Alyssa.
Well, thank you so much for joining us. So you had a really interesting offseason that I think has improved your game. You went to Australia and you played in a different position. How did that impact how you're playing now?
Australia was helpful for me because I was in the middle, so I wasn't used to having people always all around me. So I was focused more on my first touch, looking to see who I had around me and had to play the ball quicker.
So you're a little bit better in tighter spaces, so you can play a little bit faster. That's great improvement. And then I'm wondering, for today, the last time you guys played Portland here, you lost 3-2, but you were responsible for 2 of those goals. Knowing that and knowing your performance, tell us some of the keys that you guys need to achieve in order to be successful today.
I think today we just need to take consideration of the heat, but overall I think set pieces will be huge for us to defend against Portland, and I think we need to stick to our game plan, and hopefully we'll finish more than them this time.
Now you're playing up front in the winger, usually they're right or left, but you're going to be playing in front of one of the best midfielders in the world, in Nagasato. What have you learned from her, and how has it influenced your games in terms of when you run and how you play the ball?
She's made the game more simple for me. I know where she wants the ball, so it's easy to play on and off of her, really. And she's great, added experience to our team. So I think she's done well for us so far. So hopefully she keeps going with it.
All right, thank you. Good luck.
Thank you.
And they'll need Alyssa and Nagasato to be very effective in the midfield for this team because obviously the big trade that is going down, we talked about at the beginning of the show, 3 players no longer on this team. Sofia Huerta, Sam Johnson, and Taylor Camo, both defenders, will not be here today. How will this team come together? I'll tell you, before the game, they seemed really positive and energetic and ready and focused for this challenge, and Portland will have to meet it. It's not going to be easy here at Toyota Park. Everybody's getting near the shade. It's starting to cool down on the field, but it'll be heating up in just about 10 minutes and 15 seconds as we kick this thing off from Toyota Park. Don't go anywhere. We'll see you on ESPN News in a minute.